2 months, I started to walk, I guess this word, really different from me, 1 hour per day in the morning, because I love to ride by bike, and to walk, it's hard for me. Yeah, because I've never to work. Yeah, but big challenge, really different. But
Yeah,
wow, yeah, 1 hour per day in the morning. In the afternoon, before work, ride by bike because love is ride by bike.
sure.
And that's it about me. Thank you for listening, guys.
The last but not least, Walsing.
Good morning, guys. My name is Walzen. I'm 50 years old. I'm living in Pitangui, Minas Gerais, small city in countryside of Minas Gerais. And today my city is hotter than hell because I'm the full stack developer in my job, and in my free time I like watching movies and watching soccer on TV, and practice physical exercise too. And about me, this is
Great. Well, go directly to the rooms. If you receive the message, accept, and the um, maybe 5 or 10 minutes before the end, I come back to the main room. Bye bye, guys. Yeah, perfect. Well, everyone received the questions. Oh, I'm sorry. I
Ricardo,
forgot Catherine. Okay.
yeah, I will say that.
I'm sorry, Catherine.
Okay,
Could you introduce yourself?
of course. Hello, guys. I'm Catherine. I'm 30. I live in a small city in Rio called
Oh yeah.
Nilópolis. I study here in Talk since last year.
Oh yeah.
And um, yeah, I really like to read books, listen music, listen podcasts too. That's me.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Catherine joined just a few minutes at the limit, so I'm sorry, Catherine. I didn't notice.
No problem.
I
It's because
permit your uh accept you, but unfortunately I forgot. Well,
it's okay.
everyone received the question. So in this case, uh, let me start the question number one. Um, well, I'm not exactly a huge fan from this new method. Well, nowadays is not exactly so hairy. You could do any kind of almost any kind of information received on this platform, né, remotely. I try to join in a psychology course, but don't have this option for this specific subject. uh, and well, certainly medicine, not medicine, but if you wanted to be a doctor and the others, I believe it is not possible to have this option, but the most part of the courses is possible to learn on this method. I believe that, for example, it's not possible to use for kids because, yeah, it's so hard for adults keep attention on when you are in your house because there are a lot of distractions. So in this case, we had a little. portion of this experience during the pandemic, and the I have a child. On that time, probably my daughter, I forgot, but I believe 9 years. So, but my daughter is not exactly a good example because my daughter is very focused and studies in other things. But I believe that's could be a challenge for a lot of parents. For example, my brother have uh, a child, and the is he told me a lot of situations. So hard to try to keep uh, her son studying and use the tools and the other stuffs. But certainly, during my college, I have to go to the college and come back to my house. I went out from my job around 40:30, 40:20, and it's not possible to come back to my house because I don't have enough time to, for example, go to my house and come back to the university. So in this case, if you nowadays have this option, it's much better because it's possible to take a shower, have a lunch, and the other stuff. So it's much better. So in this case, in my opinion, the only advantage for me is about the time and can finish the class. I I have already on my house, so it's much better. So in this case, it's just sleep or do other things. And you, Iago?
Yeah, I think that for me, I think the same. I think that e-learning brought a lot of advantages for people who couldn't have easy access to education in college and post-graduation. For example, I always lived in the countryside in small towns, and for me it's a lot easier to do a course or a post degree that I want to know about it that is on e-learning, then go to Fortaleza, to the capital,
Yeah,
and spend a lot of time, a lot of
sure.
money to do a course.
Mm,
But I think that now these e-learning courses, post degrees, anything like that, I I think that you have to be a very self-motivated person and organized
yeah,
to be
certainly.
able to follow the program because of course sometimes there are some free courses that you can do by your time, but for example I don't believe that a post degree or something like that you need to follow the program because you have the tests or something like that, you know. So I think that you have to be a very organized and self-motivated person so you
Yeah,
can follow the program. But I have this impression now that we with these courses we can go that deep on anything that we are learning in that course. I did some post degrees, and all of them always that I had something that, oh, I think I need to know better about it. I always had to search besides because the knowledge was not on the platform, you know. So and yeah, you have to be curious, self-motivated, and an organized person so you can follow that. But I
yeah,
think that now I am studying in this way for so long that now I don't miss in-person classes anymore. Of course, it's good
sure,
to have contact with other people to do the activities or any other thing to do the works that you need to be done. But that's not something that I miss because it's for so many years I'm doing this kind of courses,
sure,
post degrees and free courses that I okay, I think I can do this, and I think that whatever I need, I can search in other ways, you know.
sure, certainly. For example, right now, I'm not sure if I have to pay attention in at from the right side or the left side. So for me, I'm not exactly a so focused person. So in this case, any
Yeah,
kind of situation could distract me.
they distract me
Uh,
a little bit too.
yeah. And you, Catherine, go ahead, please.
Hi guys. The advantage could be the distance, like you have said, people that live in countryside don't have more boundaries,
Yeah.
so they just can do whatever they want to do um if you are on the internet. But in the other side, um I think it's not so good because nowadays we have this conception that education is just about learning something, learning a subject, learning a um, technical issues. But I think education is more about that. So we need to be connected with the others because education means socialization too. So I think it's good for one side, but another side not so good. Especially in some course, like course related to healthy. So I
Yeah.
think all the course related to healthy is horrible.
Mhm.
Doing something in the remote mode because you need the practice. And another thing that I will tell is the age, because I think the age is very important. If you are an adult, maybe the remote course will be fixed better in your maturity. But for teenagers, kids, and people who have disability, for example, some disability related to the brain, I think is not so good because this kind of person needs to be need to be more attention, need to be a person follow them. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. In some specific areas, it's hard to keep this kind of remote learning, remote classes. And you, my friend Elton, go ahead, please.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with all of you guys. I believe that for people that live in a countryside, in a place that there are few places to study, or even, sometimes you need to go to the capital to study in some cities, in some states here in Brazil, and it can be an advantage for this kind of people, and yeah, I live in São Paulo, and here we have a terrible traffic jam, and that's so stressful,
Yeah.
and for this reason, I like this the remote learning, but sometimes, like you said, I believe that we need human interaction. I believe that it can be good for networking, for exchange
Yeah.
of knowledge. But here we are talking about the advantage. And what else? Yeah, one more thing, I believe that we can earn here in São Paulo, we earn at least 2 or 3 hours, in our day. When we avoid to go to the office, we avoid to go to the school because the time that we spend against the traffic jam, we can use it to learn a new thing, to stay with our family, or even to care our health, So yeah, you can optimize it, you can earn it 3 days or I mean 3 hours in your day, So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Uh, I work in nowadays I work at Barueri, but work a lot of time at São Paulo, né? And we live around 80 kilometers from my office at São Paulo. And sometimes it's better for me go to the office if you uh, if you some people né, from work at the same office live at São Paulo and take more time to arrive at the office. It's incredible. Sometimes it's so weird, because São Paulo is so big. Sometimes, for example, my office is on eh, actually was on because I don't work anymore in São Paulo, but my office it was on Berrini, and sometimes I have to go to the São Mateus. So in this case, sometimes I took 1 hour and a half. So in the same period, the same time on my vision, it's possible to cross 5 cities sometimes. For example, if you made a trip since Praia Grande, it's possible to pass for São Vicente, Santos, Guarujá, and reach some parts of the south, north coast from São Paulo. So it's not possible, or it's not recommended. If you have this option, prefer the traditional way, uh, because well, you don't have enough time to, for example, to study. So if you nowadays I'm graduating, so I prefer keep, for example, the class finish around 10 o'clock. I could study 30 minutes, for example, finish a homework or something, and you could sleep 11 p.m. Doesn't matter, you could eat as some snack or something. So in this case, it's much better for your mental health, because you have to keep public transportation, subway, and other stuff. It's hard, it's hard. So it's much better. Uh, so in this case, one of the most important things is networking. When you are in a class, not about just about you could learn other things. Sometimes uh, a classmate have an experience in this specific thing. It's just a friendship too. Because, for example, I have friends since my when I was graduating, so in more than 10 years. So it's this kind of situation. But it's possible there are self-learnings and well, it's just one different way. Is sound like a class, traditional class, but transmit on the internet. So I on this way I prefer, because it's for for me it's better keep the focus and try to have a conversation. But even this on this way is much more focus between the students and the teacher from the other people. For example, you could have a good conversation and connection with your teacher, but if a classmate, it's hard. So, but that's it. And you, Caterine, could you answer the question number two?
Sure. Yeah. I think remote classes has a problem. Like I said before, you can connect with the other students. It is very clear. But beside that, I think when you are in a class, you have your motivation to continues because everybody are in the same state. So everybody are studying the same thing.
Sure.
Everybody are facing the same difficulties. So I think this just build a confidence in yourself and in the others. So just help you to just keep going the student.
Yeah.
Keep going student. But when you are alone, it's easier to give up. So yeah. Iago.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes for example, during the class, you could receive help from another student in a traditional way. Sometimes the teacher was teaching another person, write some
Yeah,
things on the
and
whiteboard.
when a student teach you, this is another form that is this student learning too. Because when you
Sure, exactly,
teach another
exactly.
person, you are learning too. So yeah.
Sometimes it's rarely, but sometimes another student could you pass from you another perspective. Sometimes you have more. It's easier receive sometimes information from another student from the teacher because sometimes uh, a student could become
Yeah,
uh,
maybe
terrified
Iago,
for the teacher. Sometimes
maybe
a
Iago
specific
can
teacher could be strict. So
maybe Iago can talk about that because I think he was a teacher too, right, Iago, in the past? Because
go ahead, my friend.
when you was in the college, they teach us a lot of a lot of technical ways to learn some to
Yeah.
teach us something. The it's good, but in the other side, it's not so good because you lost the approachment. I think is the word. I don't know. How to talk to students, to talk the language that students talk. So yeah,
Hmm.
maybe for this reason, students can teach other students in a easy way. So
Sure.
Yeah, so when you guys were talking about how we learn and how we can connect to other people, I immediately remember of the Glasser scale. We have this pyramid that it's like how we learn, and we always learn better if we teach other people. But for me, for example, when Katarina was talking about it, I remember the pandemic because for me it was very. I was teaching back then, and for me, it was like I was a teacher in a public school, so a lot of students didn't have access to Google Meet, for example. I used to do to give a class on Google Meet once a week because I only had one class in every uh, turma, esqueci como se fala.
Team
In,
could be.
yeah, I think so. And and it was very difficult because a lot of students didn't have access. It was of course it was better to interact and to change what was the subject or something like that. But for me it was always like I have from a class of almost 30 students. I have a class on Google Meet with five, four, three, and everyone was with the camera off, and I was just talking by myself, and they were just
Wow.
reacting on the chat, and it was very difficult for me because I was
Yeah.
always like how they are learning because I can even see their faces. They don't even
Yeah.
open the camera for me. They
Certainly.
don't ask me anything.
I have the same profile. Uh,
And I was talking
in the
by
both sides,
myself.
né? As a teacher, as a student, I needed to see a
Yes,
face.
to
Yeah.
see, yes, I have this thing too. It's like, I don't know, in working meetings too, I go crazy when I see people that don't open the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that remote learning affects a lot the interaction, because for this experience that I had in the pandemic with being a teacher with the students was very difficult because they didn't interact. It was the minimum. And I think that for children and teenagers and maybe early adults, it's very difficult to learn on remote,
Sure.
because I don't know. I don't think that our brain is mature enough to sit on a chair and focus on doing that thing. And yeah, I think that that's it.
Yeah, certainly. And you, my friend Elton, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. Just to add, I believe that what I was saying about communication, about networking, I believe that for me, that's a bad thing because, I know a lot of guys that I studied when I was graduating, and these days, two of them, they asked me how they, yeah, how they can join the program area, So sometimes that's good because you don't know anyone from that area. So if you have friends from the school, you can ask them, you can get for support, for help, And yeah, I have ever heard some
Sure.
friends of mine that got the first opportunity, with a colleague as well. And I believe that when
Hmm.
you are there in person, you can support them and they can support you better because sometimes when you
Sure.
are in a, how can I say, in a virtual room, you feel afraid, you feel shy, you don't know how is the how is the personality, if you can ask, if you can, share something, if you can have it, I don't know, some kinds of
Yeah.
exchange of idea, of a point of view, of knowledge, because like you said now, the guys, when I work from home, and the most part of the time, the guys are with the camera closed. So you don't know what is the mood of that guy, if you can
Yeah.
interact with them. And
Yeah.
I believe that the remote way, it's hard because you lose the human warmth, and it is harder to have
Yeah.
interaction.
Yeah. There are good and bad aspects when we talk
Yeah.
about this situation. I'm I'd like to tell some comments about and the answer the question number three too at the same time because it's correlated. I was talking with a friend yesterday and the I'm not sure some aspects, but when you are talking, your frequency of your voice, uh, when you listen, we have some abilities, some capacities and limits. And it's not a coincidence, in my opinion. The frequency, the capacity of your ear listen to uh, any kind of song is the same frequency or more connected to your voice. What's mean? When you could have more uh, frequency, you could listen, but it's almost a coincidence to the your voice. You could listen to frequency just a little bit and above from your frequency of the voice, human voices. That, I believe that should be a reason. uh, So we have this necessity, but certainly young people much more fit from this kind of situation. For example, they share uh, messages, for example, in WhatsApp groups and the other stuff. And sometimes, for example, my daughter send a message. Oh, I'm sorry, father, but I send a message for you, but you don't see. Okay, but you send a message from a cell phone. So in this case, the purpose of the cell phone may cost you. So in this case, you could use the cell phone. Uh, Even for example, oh, I I can't or I don't want it to disturb you. So make a phone call just for receive a alert on my cell phone and stop the call. But yeah, it's not exactly a huge problem. But when Welton was talking about, oh, I work on programming area and other stuffs. In the same time, I think that the purpose, the perspective actually, and the future is robots and the softwares and this kind of situation do a lot of things, maybe almost everything uh, you do for robots and the softwares. So in this case, I believe that in the future, this kind of thing, human interactions became more important because probably it's just only thing you have to do. So I'm not sure, but for the other hand, it's good because it's you sometimes you waste less money because the courses is cheaper and you don't have to pay for transportation. So in this case, I believe that another aspect because in a classroom you could practice another abilities, not just learning information about specific subject, but about the human interaction too. So in some countries, for example, England, United States, there are theater classes and the others to promote this kind of ability. So, but in Brazil, I'm not sure, but I never listened about it. Uh, that's it. And you, Katarina, could you answer the next question, please?
I
Actually,
lost
number three,
myself.
but
Number
you
3.
could choose it any what other. I answered about number three, but go ahead. You could
Okay.
choose any kind of.
No, I
You
can
could
answer
create
number
a new
3.
one or choose another. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think in the regular classes, in the presential classes, we have more time. I don't know. Because I remember in the pandemic years, even classing have 1 or 2 hours, and in the presential way was like 3 or 4 hours. And I think it is time is related to the time that you waste when you are in a presential way, because you have sometimes to pass things in the bordered. Oh my goodness, I don't know this word, but do you know? I think it's border, right? Quadro negro? Não sei.
Whiteboard could be.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is the black as well, blackboard.
yeah, thank you. So you have to wait the student to copy this subject that you pass. So there is a lot of waste times. And in online, you don't have this because normally people put the slide and just talk, 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 talk. And I think this way is very easy to lose the focus, because the human brain can't focus for more than, I don't know, 30 minutes. So 1 hour in an online class is much for our brains. So I think is normal lose the focus. And besides that, we are on the internet, so we just can open a page and put it on the social media or search for something. It's very easy to distract you. So yeah, that's it.
Go ahead, Iago, please.
Yeah, I was looking for the fourth question because that's something that I ask a lot myself because now I work as an instructional designer. And in the company that I work, we don't have we it's not for a specific university. We have a lot of clients. So that's something that I always ask myself when I am organizing a content that will go for online platform to the student. And something that I think is that we never get the feedback because we do the product and send to the university and it's by them, you know. And we never get feedback about the content, about the structure of the page or anything like that. And for me, that's something that it's really I don't know how to say angustiante because, for example, one time I was talking to a coworker and we were talking about anatomy subject that we have that it's a big and dense content, and we were like, oh, we have this content. We think that it's okay because you know a specialist teacher who has a master or doctor degree did it, but it's always like, is this enough? Because you know it's dealing with a human body. It's a subject for physiotherapists, for biologists, for I don't think that doctors do this on online classes, but you know, other health areas. And we were like, can they learn enough from only this? Of course, they will have practice in the university, but that's something that it gets me in my head sometimes because we don't get this feedback of the student about the content, or if we get, it takes a long time until we get the feedback and improve the content, you know. So it's something, it's a little bit difficult for me to deal with that.
Yeah. And Joelto, my friend.
Well, for sure, that's a big challenge, when you are working from home or even studying from home, you know, because nowadays we have a lot of distractions, including the social medias, the cell phone at all. And to deal with that is not easy because the most part of the time you are using your cell phone unconscious, and you need to pay attention on that. Yeah, and I believe that the most part of the population of the people, they don't have the recommended or the right environment, to study because, sometimes you live in a house with a lot of
Yeah.
guys, in a overcrowded place, and there are a lot of side conversations. There are a dog making noise, a bird, every kinds of pets that you can imagine, a baby, and sometimes it can be hard to keep the focus, and yeah, I believe that it is one of the worst problem that the guys can have while they are trying to study at home. I believe that even if you work from home, I believe that the most part of the guys don't have the right place. So it can be worse for the people that are studying, because you don't have a budget to buy the right chair, the right desk, to have a healthy environment, a healthy workplace to study, a study place in this case. So yeah, uh, that's my opinion.
Certainly, certainly. Well, uh, the guys come back from my uh, main room. But I believe that I'm not sure. The I believe that certainly it's much better you have you're learning something. Certainly, doesn't matter if you remotely or presentially, but uh, as you guys told during our conversation, sometimes it's not possible to have a traditional way. And this, for the hand, some people don't adapt, don't fit from this kind of technical stuff and other things. Not about the specific goal, how to manage a tool, for example, Zoom and the other stuff, but about the kind of uh, learning, because sometimes it's hard to uh, understand things when do you, for example, read a manual or other stuff. So in this case, it's much better when you have this this thing in your mind. Uh, I'm learning much more in a traditional way. Okay, so in this case, you could register in the traditional course. So sometimes it's better. You waste more money and learn more. So that's it. And you guys, how was that your conversation? Wanda, could you tell me something about it?
Yes, it was a really good conversation. I appreciate so much. We have many thoughts about
Great.
and the subject. Yes, I thank you for bringing for us this kind of subject to open mind. Thank you.
Thanks. Marcio, please.
Yeah, it was so good hours, because I have a good opportunity to talk in English. Yeah, about my opinions. Yeah, really good. Thank you.
Mr. Walzen, please.
Yes, I like so much the show my point of view of these questions and the Marcio and Banda. I like so much.
Great, great. Well, guys, I put the survey on the chat. Please answer if you possible or want. Sometimes I commit mistakes, or so in this case, if you suggest something, it's good for me because I try to do my best, but sometimes I commit some mistakes. In this case, I could uh, let the conversation better. And particular sometimes is good when you receive good tips, new stuffs from another meeting, because sometimes it's so hard because when you have, I believe Delton could have this kind of situation too. Sometimes you don't think, well, which which subject I choose for the next immersion. Sometimes you think about, oh, I is a good topic for a conversation, but sometimes I don't know what happened. Sometimes you choose, oh, this subject is wonderful for a immersion, and oh, on this case it's not so good. But when the put on track is received different, sometimes fluently so good, and the another immersion, another topic is not so good. So in this case, if you send me suggestions, I appreciate so much because of I could receive good tips, and sometimes a specific topic could let our conversation better. Having fun sometimes, and sometimes I noticed that some kind of topics sometimes let our conversation harder. Uh, the people don't relax and oh, it's just a conversation, it's just a class, it's not exact a fight or something. But I don't know, sometimes put ourselves under pressure. It's not uh it's not a really situation, but sometimes we feel under pressure because of the topic. I don't I'm not have an explanation about it. It's just a sensation. Well, we have finished for now, but I would like to decide for you a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I hope so much that in the next immersion enjoy again. And well, if you wanted, you could send a message from in the WhatsApp group. I could try to do my best to solve some doubt or another question. Hello, guys. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank
See
you.